So you're welcome. Either close your eyes or turn your gaze inward. Allow your experience to be whichever way it is. You do not exist in time. Whatever appears to you is like the weather, is the external weather, sounds, perceptions. And there is the internal weather, thoughts and sensations. And you are nobody. You're not somebody. And at the same time, you are everybody. You are not something, and yet nothing exists without you. The mind, meaning thoughts, appear to you various body minds appear to you. None of which define you, like the many colors of a rainbow do not define the white light, colorless. Formless. It does not matter much what thoughts or sensations appear to you. as long as you do not refer to yourself in any limited way. Whenever you're trying to improve yourself, you're just trying to improve. Something which you imagine yourself to be. You can improve the health of the body. You can improve your knowledge about music or about how things function in the world. But improving yourself requires the assumption that you are something or someone that can be improved. And you are not that. When you know yourself to be somebody, you have limited yourself. Because your true nature is not in time, not known by the mind. The mind is just a movement within you, which is your movement, like the movement of water as waves. Your thoughts and your sensations and your perceptions are like the movement of water. Your movement as mind, but you are not limited by the movements. You're not limited in any way. It is only the belief that you know what you are, that you are a man, a woman, that you're a person, that you're somebody. It is this false knowingness which binds you and gives you the impression that you need to improve yourself, that you need to become a better somebody, none of which is true. Your reality is not knowing, being not knowing. I know I am, but I don't know what I am, nor do I need to know what I am. Because what I am is just a movement within the mind. The good, the bad. They're just movements of the mind. You're neither good nor bad. None of this applies to you. So your path to not knowing is to disrobe yourself from knowing what you are, to simply be exposed, not relying on the previous thought and the subsequent thought to define you, to simply be not in time, not defining yourself as a continuum in time, because there is no continuity in time to consciousness. Eternity is not a continuity. The continuity is in the realm of thoughts and perceptions, but not in the realm of being. Being is not continuous. It is eternal, not in time. You can comprehend that because you are not in time. The truth resonates to itself. It recognizes itself and knows itself, irrespective of the mind arguing and wanting proof. Being is its own proof. The formless reality which is and which perceives right now is its own proof, its own validation. It does not require a validation via memory or via thought or via recollection or via some experience. If you can come to pure presence right now, meaning to simply be doing nothing, allow yourself to sink into being. Which is being sinking into itself. It's nothing that somebody, as a personal doer, does anything. You are already that which I am. You're already the I am, the amness, the beingness. You don't need to be loved because you are love itself. You don't need to be made whole because you are wholeness itself. You don't need to project yourself as an image, as somebody. And you don't need to project others as somebody. Because what you are is not an image, not some sort of projection, nor is anybody else. Whenever you project yourself, you are limiting yourself. No matter how great that projection is, it's still finite. When you return to not knowing, you are returning to truth. Because there is no way to define truth. It knows itself. Like you know yourself. You know yourself as being, as presence, as reality. Not as a man or a woman, somebody is trying to get somewhere. If you're trying to get somewhere, you need to ask yourself, what is this I that is trying to get somewhere? You will find a mental projection. You will find memories and stories. You will find the past and the future. But you will not find the peace of being. You will not find presence. You will not find freedom. You will not find love or joy. When you're trying to improve yourself, you are in the judgment business. You are not in the understanding business, not in the love business. You're in the improvement business. Judging others and judging yourself. It's just an inner weather, a habitual pattern. Once you see it, it loses its power. There may be habits of the mind and habits of the body, but there are no habits to yourself, and no habits to awareness. If there are any questions, please make sure to unmute yourself. And you're welcome to turn on your video if you like. Any questions? Hello, good.
Hello, Magdi. Thank you for this beautiful meditation. What is the contrast, the difference between being here and feeling safe and listening to you and it resonates deeply, and versus being by myself? What is the shift? I mean, do I just need to be more patient? Or, yeah, I don't know how to say it in other ways.
We are always the wide open space of awareness. And when we believe and feel ourselves to be something observable, something perceived, then we open ourselves up to evaluation. How am I appearing? Am I a lovable appearance? Am I being harmonious with everybody else, with my environment? How do I compare with the past? Am I doing better? It's a movement of the mind and the body and sensations. But the screen is a transparent screen. It's like washable paint. It just washes away. It's not, the paint doesn't penetrate the screen. It's like the screen is like the heat in the desert, the mirage. It somehow certain perceptions appear within the heat that's emanating from the sand. And every time that you have an understanding that you are not a bundle of images or feelings, this understanding is significant. And it's not about improving yourself, but it's about the understanding that you're not made out of feelings and sensations. So we're not seeking a mind state or a better mind state, because that's also an experience in time. It's also an illusion. Every time that you get a glimpse and insight that you are this formless presence, that's a significant understanding. And the understanding stands on its own. It does not require somebody to remember it, or to practice it, or to file it somewhere, or store it. Because this understanding reveals itself out of your love and interest in happiness, in truth, in reality, meaning an interest in understanding what is going on. The question, how come in life I don't experience the peace? This question arises out of your interest. Your interest is not in understanding how come in life I don't experience the peace. That's a disguise, because your interest is in peace itself, not in writing a paper that explains how come in life I don't experience the peace that I experience in satsang. No, that's not your interest. Your interest is in peace itself. And it is that interest which needs to be understanding. You are never anywhere else but where you are. You're never in satsang or in life as no satsang, whatever that is, appears to you. Life, whatever that is, appears to you. You are the same. You whether this is appearing to you or that is appearing to you, it's always you are the same. Whatever appears to you does not have any significance to change you, to alter you. It's just an appearance to you. You do not need to fret and panic and rush to the rescue of a cloud that's appearing in the sky that has a shape of a sinking, drowning somebody. It's a cloud taking on that shape. So the understanding that you are the same, irrespective of what appears to you. This understanding, once you understand that, then it's your understanding. It's yours. It's available to you. It's your understanding. So in satsang, there is some understanding. And what matters is what you understood. And sometimes in life, there is a recollection of what you understood. And this recollection is like the bell ringing to tell you it's time for you to stand in line or whatever, We have a tendency to identify ourselves via our perceptions and try to improve and save ourselves, better ourselves. It's a false tendency because it's based on the assumption that you are something perceived, you're someone, some entity. But that's just mind, and mind is very conditioned. It operates in protective mechanisms, defensive and protective mechanisms. It has to do with the survival of the species. And it mistakes your belief to be true, and so it tries to save you from, wants you to be loved by others. It's assuming that it's very important. In a way, it is important, but that's talking like psychologically. You're not about to be crucified or burned at the stake, you know. No, that was a long time ago. But this is imaginary me. And this imaginary me wants to be loved by the other. And the other is experiencing the same thing. Their imaginary me wants to be loved by you. It's we all share that delusion. So in life, whenever you experience some sense of discontinuity, some sense of dissonance, contemplate that nothing is happening to you. It's just an appearance. And that at that moment, you're imagining yourself to be somebody. And that what's available to you is relaxing as presence, not in order to have a better experience. No, because presence is relaxed. Presence is not contracted. It does not know contraction. So it's available to you. The presence is available to you. Not for any purpose. And you don't have to succeed or fail, because success and failure is part of that mechanism of judgment and improvement and failing, and oh, maybe I can do better, or he did better, she did better. I was better last year, I was better yesterday. What's happening today? What's going to happen tomorrow? So it's not about success or failure, it's just about interest. And exploration, your own exploration, your own experimentation, playfully, because there's nothing at stake.
Yeah. You always in satsang. You're always the self. You're always that transparent presences. You are not something. You are the you, the I. You are that. You are that. You are it. You is everything is you. You are the thing is you. And it's nothing special. It's just this. It's this. Now it's this conversation. But this conversation is just something that this you is doing. It's doing, it's perceiving simultaneously. You're doing this and you're perceiving this simultaneously.
And then it's that or this, whatever. It's just the movement, and the repose, the restfulness.
Thank you, Magdi.
So it doesn't have to be perfect movement, whatever it is. And if we notice something, we say, oh, okay, maybe it's better this way, because you're preferring it this way. You prefer it this way. And maybe I prefer the silence, or I prefer to look at it that way. What there is no, that's how it is. No. It's how you wish it, how you do it, how you play it. And there's nothing at stake. There's nothing at stake. If you are loved or not loved, it's the same. If you're successful at this or failure at that, it's the same.
Yeah. Hallelujah. Thank you, Magdi.
Any questions?
Hey, Magdi.
Hello, Frank.
I said to myself, I am not going to ask a question today because every time I come on here, I end up asking a question, which is fine, I guess, but a part of me doesn't think it's fine. Thinks there's something wrong with that. The question I have today is, so I was in a group the other day with people, and we were talking about this kind of thing, and the conversation came up about the senses and how you can basically go through every single sense and realize that you don't need that sense or any of those senses to realize presence. So in other words, whether you have hearing going on or eyesight going on or tasting or any of those, you can still realize that there's presence there. You can go into a sensory deprivation tank and realize that you're still there as you always were, whatever that is, you think that is there, the presence. But it does make complete sense to me on a mental level. It makes complete sense to me, and I can see that. But I'm still in that belief of being a separate self, and not just that. Also, I think of things like if that's the case, and it seems to be the case, it's very clear to be the case. Why is it that I can't, like when I go to sleep, there's nothing there? There's nothing, like when I'm in a deprivation tank, I'm still there, and I can see that I don't have any senses. I don't seem to have any senses there, but I'm still alive. I'm still present. But that doesn't happen when I go to sleep, or there's nothing of that before before I see myself in a body, or after that, or anything after post-death or whatever. So those questions keep coming up to draw me back into, no, this is a bunch of BS. This isn't true. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. What do you think about that?
Yeah. So from the perspective of let's say that
part of our experience is perception, sensations, the senses. And we attribute reality to our sensory experience. Our thoughts are real. The mountains and the rivers are real. We attribute reality to that which is perceived via the senses, including the mind, including thoughts. And we overlook that the experience of presence, awareness, consciousness, is not a phenomenal experience. We believe that I know that I am because of the brain, because of the activities of the brain, or because of the activities of the senses, and because of there is a body. We believe that I know that I am because there is a body, because there is a world. So as a result, we believe that the experience of awareness is a phenomenal experience. I'm aware because I'm a person, I'm a body, I'm a phenomena, I'm an object, I'm made out of matter, and therefore consciousness or awareness is a product of matter. It's a product of the senses, it's a product of the world, it's a product of the brain. But this belief there is no evidence to support this belief. There are no thought experiments that have demonstrated that consciousness arises out of the brain, or arises out of the senses, or arises out of the body. Because consciousness is that which is perceiving. It is that which is perceiving the experiment. It's not in the experiment. Consciousness is not in the experiment. The experiment is in it, but it is not in the experiment. So the people who say that consciousness depends on the senses, that the reality is the senses, they have not fully investigated the belief and the evidence that consciousness arises out of the senses. Experientially, that's for one thing, experientially, perception, the world, the oak tree, appears within consciousness, right? When you're perceiving a red light, you're driving the car with a red light, this perception is appearing in awareness. Awareness is not appearing in the perception. Experientially, a thought, like the thought, today is Thursday, this thought appears in awareness. It is perceived. But you do not perceive awareness inside the thought. Experientially, there is no evidence. Our experience tells us that consciousness is not inside any phenomena. And there are no experiments that have been conducted by any scientific or philosophical experiment or any sort of experiments that have demonstrated that consciousness arises out of the brain, or arises out of thought, or arises out of the senses, out of hearing, or out of hearing. The sound of music appears to you, appears in awareness. It is important to understand that the experience of consciousness is a non-phenomenal experience. And it is important to understand that the experience of consciousness is not intermittent. It's not like now there is consciousness and 5 minutes later there is less consciousness, and 10 minutes later there's going to be no consciousness, and an hour later there's going to be 100% consciousness. No. Whenever you turn your attention to consciousness, you find that it's fully there. What appears within consciousness changes. Sometimes there's a headache, sometimes there is hunger, sometimes there is the thought of, I want to go to the movies, whatever. Whatever appears in consciousness keeps changing. But consciousness doesn't change. It's not like more consciousness or less consciousness. There isn't more consciousness in the morning and less consciousness at night. So it's important to understand that consciousness is not intermittent. It's not a variable. But the senses are very variable. If you have a cold, you cannot smell. When you have a strong headache, you cannot think about your work or about things you need to do.
Yeah, Magdi, can I intercept something in here? So the reason
Yes.
I brought this up is because when we did this, the group that I was in, we were all looking at that, and it was the first time I really realized, in a very experiential sense, that none of my senses, I can still know that I'm here without all my senses. Like I can take out the hearing, seeing, tasting, smelling, all of it, and I'm still here, it really kind of blew my mind.
Yes.
But I thought it was going to wake me up. I thought to myself, why isn't this completely waking me up, where I no longer have this belief in a separate self? And why don't I've heard of people saying that they're there when they're asleep. They can see the body being asleep while they're asleep. Not that I want to get there, but I'm saying I've heard of those experiences. So I'm just wondering why wouldn't that wake me up? That just knowing that and realizing experientially that I don't need any of my senses to know that I'm here, which I always thought was what showed me that I was here. It didn't seem to move me on beyond that. I guess it's just it's the mind trying to figure things out. I don't know.
If you understand that I am and I know that I am doesn't depend on the senses, if that understanding is there, you cannot understand that. How do you say? You cannot reverse. You cannot. So either you have understood that awareness doesn't depend on the senses, and that the senses depend on awareness. Either you've understood that, and you don't want to honor your understanding. In other words, you still like the game of, oh, well, wait a minute, I haven't seen myself floating over my body. I haven't had an NDE. I haven't I haven't read some of my cousin's thoughts, and he lives in Africa, and I haven't read it. Either you've understood and you still want to play the game of whatever, or you haven't fully understood. Because if you've understood, then the understanding is, you cannot ununderstand. If you understand is 2 + 2 = 4 and not = 5, you cannot ununderstand that. You cannot go back to it. So either you have understood and playing the game, yes, but, or you have not understood.
Okay, I'll have to think about that. Yeah, because then I listen to the doubts. The doubts keep coming up. The doubting Thomas thoughts keep coming up. So I guess that's,
You understand
I haven't fully, I guess I haven't fully understood, like you're saying, probably.
understanding
Seems like-
has to be your understanding. You have to ask yourself, do I have any doubt that awareness, meaning that which perceives right now, depends on the body mind, that it depends on the senses. It depends on the state of mind, the deep sleep state, the waking state, it depends on something. You have to ask yourself that question. And if there is any doubt, then you have to bring up the question. You have to say, yeah, well, what about deep sleep? Then you have to pursue you. If there is any doubt, you have to pursue the question, raise your doubt so that you can look at the objection, because the objection needs to be looked at to be satisfied. So if it's a question about deep sleep, for example, how come, what's happening in deep sleep to consciousness? Well, okay, we can look at that question. In deep sleep, there are no perceptions or very low perceptions or very, barely any perceptions, or is 10 miles between perception A and perception B, so there is no recollection of any perception. That we know, yeah, because we don't remember any dreams within deep sleep. Well, actually, we don't even remember deep sleep. What we know is that we have nothing, we have not disappeared. We know we have not disappeared. How do we know that? Well, we know that because here we are. Not we know that because here is the body, or we know that because we woke up and now it's Friday. No. We know that we have not disappeared because here we are. Not we know we have not disappeared because here is this perception. We know we have not disappeared because here we are, here I am. Not I, Frank, or I. Here is consciousness. If consciousness had disappeared, how come there is consciousness now? It's like a temporary disappearance. What's a temporary disappearance? There is no such thing as a temporary disappearance. Either it's disappeared or it's not disappeared. There isn't like shades of colors. No. There is this color, that color, that color, that color, that color, that color. There isn't a shade. A shade of color is just a concept. A shade. Shades of blue. It's a concept. But it's just this blue, that blue, that blue, that blue, that blue, that blue. There isn't a shade of blue. A shade of blue is a concept. There is no shades of consciousness. So what happened to consciousness in deep sleep? Nothing. Because why? Here it is. Here is consciousness. It didn't. Did it go anywhere? No. No. You can also ask yourself, okay, if consciousness disappeared in deep sleep, what would know that? How would you know that consciousness disappeared? If somebody tells you, oh, last night I was sleeping and my consciousness disappeared, I would ask him, well, how do you know that? Well, I was there and I looked around and my consciousness wasn't there. Say, okay, well, who is it that was there? You were there looking and you found there is no consciousness. You have to be there. Consciousness has to be there to say that consciousness has disappeared. How can consciousness be there and be witnesses on disappearance? There is no such thing as no consciousness. You've got to come to grip with that. Ask yourself, investigate whatever doubts you have to investigate them. Bring them up. If you have any doubts, bring them up. Ask. It's okay. We're together. It's not that I know any more than you. I don't. We're together. We explore together. Until you come to complete clarity, there is no such thing as no consciousness. It's just a concept. No consciousness. What would say that? How could anything say there is no consciousness? There is no reality. You need consciousness to say there is no consciousness. So what happens to consciousness in deep sleep when the senses are neutralized, big shot of anesthetic? Nothing. And the proof is in the pudding. Are you not conscious right now? Absolutely. Anyways, whatever objections you have, Frank, you need to bring them up for yourself. Bring them up. And
I will. Thanks. Thanks, Magdi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll bring them up. I will. I'll keep that in mind.
Okay.
As stupid as I think these questions are, I'll just keep bringing them up until.
They're not stupid
Okay.
questions.
Okay. Thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Good
Thank
for
you.
all of us. Thank you.
Oh, good. Thanks.
Okay. Any questions?
Magdi, I wanted to.
Hello. Yes.
Hi.
Nathan, hello. Yes.
Yes, hi. I wanted to comment on something that you said when we turn our attention to awareness, as well, and we experience is not the right word, but it opens up. It's one of the things that for years.
Nathan, can you raise your volume just a little bit? Is it possible? I don't know.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. When I first approached the studies of Francis, very early on, it's about 10 years or something, he used to say, turn your attention to presence. Turn the attention to presence. And one of the things that I did not understand, how can you turn the attention to something which is not phenomenal?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of bugged me a little bit, where do you lead the attention for something that is not, you can't grasp it, you can't present it. And so for many, many years, and for a bit even now, I kind of a little bit, I think, visualize a certain quality of transparency, of openness, of this colorless presence. But I found out that there's no need to turn the attention there, that there is just the availability, that's all. Just availability, because it's already there, because it is what I am. And yes, all these activities, happenings, my reaction, my emotions, my frustrations, or my peace, they come and go, they visit me. But that there is this kind of transparency, this spaciousness that carries itself, carries you with it. And there's a huge interest in it, huge love for it. And it's becoming so important in my life now. I open my eyes and I'm there. I'm thinking about this. I work with my animals. I take 5 minutes break, and it flows to the love to the creatures that I treat, love to the clients, the smile, the happiness. And it just works very quietly, work is not the right word, but it's kind of an exploration. It goes really deep and expanding and expanding. And there's a lot of happiness that comes with it and a lot of love. But this turning the attention to, it's kind of like fallen apart a little bit. It's more like available, open. And what you see, not knowing, this not fixing to anything, just letting it carry, letting it be as I am. Not, as you said beautifully, not related to the sensation, this or that, or seeking this or seeking that, or all experiments. It's all frenzy. And it's so simple, it's so beautiful, it's so open, it's so available to all of us. It's so us sharing all the time. And it's becoming the focus of my life, the interest, the love, all the time. And I really want to thank you, Sil, thank you, all of you, and all my friends that really asking the question. It's almost as if I was asking the question. It's not he asked the question, I asked the question. We kind of all in it, we all it. And there is a communion in that. There's love in that, there's sharing in that. Yes. Even with Holger, when Holger was saying, I could just feel him so close to me, so close to me. So it's just a lot of gratitude comes with this. I just wanted to express my gratitude as well, this opportunity, with this beautiful meditation as well. Yes, I think that's what I wanted to say.
Yes. Well, that's beautiful.
You know, Magdi, also, I listened to Francis, you brought this dialogue, and he spoke about this, about time and the clocks. And it was so exciting. It was just so wonderful. I mean, it's like the universe was opening, and I could see all the dance, the Einstein equations, all the mathematics became like a dance. The time, the space, the curving, dilation of time, all this God's play, beauty. This is beauty and science can go together. It's unbelievable, just unbelievable. Yes, and I wanted to thank you very much for bringing it to us on Facebook, the opportunity to listen to that exchange, which was fantastic, about nature perception as well, about a sound that we don't perceive the sound, but our own perception of the sound. Yes. And I found it was like a moment of, like a discovery, like, oh my God, I never thought about it like that. It just hits me. It's so clear. It's so beautiful. I thought if Francis would just hugging like this. But I have a lot of interest in science as well, because part of it is my profession, I suppose, and training. But I just love mathematics and physics and things like that. Yes. Not as a professional physicist, but just because of my interest in biology, I suppose, medicine, so on. So it was a revelation. It was wonderful. I want to thank Francis through you for this. Thank you, Magdi, for everything you're doing for us.
Well, love you all. Thank you all. Lovely to be with
Thank
you. Holger, Leighton, Mark, Frank, Chris, and Holly, hey, Alan, Shai, hello Shai, Perizat, Salut Shiva, and my sweet Tara. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Maggie. See you next time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Frank.